All right, everyone, we're here at Gartner Orlando, and I'm super excited to be here with Ronen and Michael from Ronen from K2view, Michael from Rocket Software. First of all, very excited to chat with both of you. Super excited to learn more about what are y'all doing here at Gartner. But let's start with a quick intro. Tell us more about what you do at K2view, what do you do at Rocket Software.
Hi, Ravit. Amazing to be here with you, and pretty hectic opening for the show. Ronen Schwartz, CEO in K2view, and always a data person. Michael, to you.
Michael Curry. I run the data modernization business within Rocket Software. So all things data, from data integration, data governance, all the way out to data analytics, which is kind of new for our portfolio.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm also wanting to learn a little bit about the partnership that K2view and Rocket Software has. Tell us a little bit about the partnership, and then we can get into the use cases and how a customer is using the product. Ronan, do you want to go first?
I'll go first. Really, K2view met Rocket in the market. We actually saw a real demand from customers. Our customers that are building data products, our customers that are building test data management, our customers that are building synthetic data, they wanted the leading capabilities to bring a really critical enterprise data from the mainframe. And Rocket have been the leading choice there, and I'm so happy, Michael, for the opportunity to partner with you.
Yeah, we're super excited about it as well. One of the things we see, we deal a lot with modernizing those kinds of systems, right? So as we're working with customers to modernize these sort of legacy systems that run the core of their business, there's a huge demand for to make sure those run properly as they modernize them. And of course, that creates all kinds of opportunity for building out test data, synthesizing data, doing all the things necessary to make sure that they get the same operation as they transform and modernize those systems.
Yeah, so we kind of started from the testing data, and moved into synthetic data, and even the data product is the layer above the mainframe. These are all things that are part of the modernization story, now part of how you make data available for AI. So very, very exciting.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love how this is all coming together, but it also becomes very interesting for those enterprises out there who are kind of, obviously looking for the data product, and then there's a layer which kind of, helps them to get, from point A to point B very quickly using K2view and Rocket Software together. I'm kind of also wanting to learn a little bit about the use cases, because I know you all work with a lot of regulated industries in this space, but you all also work with other industries. Any use case that comes to the mind that you would like to share with our audience, and how is K2view Rocket Software coming together?
Yes, so today, and I think we were hearing a lot about it in this conference, you're seeing a real wave in automation, in coding automation, etc. When you're going through a modernization process, you can now do, and I think Cloud Code and others are really enabling development to be accelerated. All of this development, for it to go to production, it needs to be tested. And to do that, you need test data management. In many cases, you need synthetic data. It have to perform, so you need to test it against scale, against synthetic data at scale. And this synthetic data, or this test data, they're not just available to be generated out of, I'll call it out of nothing. They need to be generated based on the information the organization have. And a lot of that information is actually in the mainframe. A lot of that information is in system of record. And this is kind of where our partnership shines.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we work with customers and they're trying to modernize those systems, they're looking for a partner like K2view. So as we've partnered, we've found that there's no better solution for synthesizing, creating synthetic test data,
Yep.
or even just doing test data management around existing data and making sure that's protected as they move those systems. So it's a really, really key partnership for our ability to deliver modernization for our customers.
I love it.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing to see what is possible today. We are getting into the level of automation that from the product story the product manager is writing, you're able to generate code, but you're also able to generate the data that is needed in order to test it. So that the first time you're seeing that is actually after it have been tested with real data, with mask data, with synthetic data, etc.
Yeah, I love these points in how enterprises are kind of looking at these kind of aspects when it comes to synthetic data, when it comes to data product, it's just a game changer how you all are catering to them. I'm also curious to know from both of you because we hear a lot about things moving very quickly. In 2026 itself, I think it's almost 2 months are done now, and we've seen things kind of changing so much in the space. How should enterprises, the leaders, keep up with the pace? But the second question is around the keynote as well. Today we've heard so much around data governance, around data quality, and then the value, right? So how is Rocket Software K2view kind of bringing that for the enterprises? And for those enterprise leaders who want to keep up with the pace, how should they do that? Michael, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I think, look, this is a time of an incredible change.
Yeah.
And I've been through a few of these, but nothing that's gone this fast. I mean, the amount of change, even like you said, since December of last year to now is daunting, right? So everybody's feeling like they're trying to catch up.
Right.
The great thing about it is that it's not the technology leap that you have to make is not that difficult, right? This is probably the easiest transition that I've ever seen, which is also why it's moving so fast. What you really need to focus on, though, is that governance layer, right? And I think that's a key element of this. If you've got your governance house in order and you're protecting the data as you transition and make those transitions, then you're prepared for that. So it's really about being AI ready. And so if my one piece of advice to all business leaders is think about creating environments of AI ready data. If you can do that, then the amount of change and the rate and pace of that change is not going to be as scary because you've got the foundation in place to build upon.
Yeah.
I love what you said, and I think even in the keynote they highlight the data foundation, right? You need to build the foundation right so that the innovation can just stream very, very quickly. I think you're right, we're living in unprecedented time. The amount of innovation, the things that you wake up any morning to the news is actually really, really cool. And I think as a technologist, there's never been a better time to be there. My advice is the same as Michael, and I'll add one more thing. Partner with vendors that are deep in what they're doing. Because that actually is ensuring that they're actually taking care of some of these foundational data things also for you. Chasing so many things at the same time is hard with the right partners. And this is where this partnership is all about. With the right partnership, you are able to get all the value from the new innovation.
Yeah, no, I love how you mentioned about the data foundation. One thing that kind of comes often in our conversations with these enterprise leaders as well, with various industries. Ravit, we all have been working in the space where, okay, we've done the AI implementation, we have agents in place, we are working on agentic systems. One thing that we want to make sure is in place is the data foundation, the data quality, the data that is being fed to AI is in place. And then the second big thing is with all the agents that are doing the work, what's the business outcome and how much trust can we have in that agent is what we are focusing more on.
Yep.
And then the biggest part is the ROI. So it just all comes all together. Ronen, what do you think?
First, I agree with you completely, and I think even from just this morning here, I can say that I am encouraged that even better than the keynote, I think the customers are actually in their AI journey.
Yes.
And when you start talking to customers, not about just adopting a model, but actually about inference, how they're really implementing the model. And when it comes to implementing the model, that's where they need inference. They need to connect to their data, the unstructured data, but even more importantly, they need to connect to the data in their system of records. And we're very excited to have this conversation with anybody that is here around.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the key. And I think carrying that governance layer from where it exists today, which a lot of companies already started that investment, carrying that forward into their agentic investments
Yep.
is critical. So I think that continuum is part of what will make people successful.
I love it. I love this partnership. I loved all the insights that you all shared, Michael, Ronen. We'll keep the conversation going. For those who wish to follow more about the partnership, I know you all put out joint blogs. I know you all put out a lot of content. If they want to go out and try the product, which is the best place?
Gladly, they can reach out to each one of our companies, and as good partners, we will basically make sure they have the right technology. Please just go into K2view.com, and reach out to us, and we will love to bring the mutual product to your usage.
Fantastic. And I know Michael, Ronen, you both are very approachable by LinkedIn as well. So folks who want to learn more about the space, not only just about the partnership, but other things that Ronen and Michael are doing in this space, you guys can follow them on LinkedIn, reach out to them, and ask them difficult questions. But this was an amazing conversation. Thanks for doing this. Have a fantastic Gartner DNA ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us.